You're so selfish. My sister-in-law screamed when I refused to give up my gift. My husband stayed silent. Then he made a single call. Minutes later, she was humiliated as the truth came out. Everyone finally saw her for who she really was. The room fell silent as she tried to defend herself, but it was too late. Her own lies had caught up to her. My husband and I met 9 years ago at a ski lodge. I was there with my young daughter and a friend, while he was with his siblings, 2 brothers, 3 sisters, and a few friends. Our friend set us up to participate in a singing competition, and we instantly hit it off. That night, after the competition, we went to a cafe to chat. That's when I first noticed Tina's unsettling behavior. She stormed up to us, demanded that he return to their group, completely ignored my presence, and whined when he refused. She then ran off crying and, in retaliation, took her sister's room keycards, locking them out and forcing them to stay with friends. Fast forward to when my husband and I bought a house together. We threw a housewarming party and invited close family and friends. Tina arrived dressed in a revealing club outfit, ignored me the entire time, and clung to my husband, who was still my boyfriend then. She kept reminiscing about their childhood, hugging him, kissing him on the cheek, and touching his arm whenever she laughed, actions that made him visibly uncomfortable. Seeing this, I had to step in. At first, I assumed she just had a crush on him, but the way she behaved made it seem like she thought she was his girlfriend, not me. She went around telling people how he once said he never wanted kids but was now playing dad to my daughter. One of my friends even pointed out how odd it was that Tina kept talking about how hot his old modeling photos were from college. She even mentioned her favorite one, a picture of them at a beach in Hawaii during a family vacation years ago. One of the strangest comments she made was about how my husband had never dated a woman of color before and suddenly fell in love with me. This was bizarre, especially considering that Tina herself is biracial. It made me wonder if she was jealous because she wished she were in my place. The situation escalated at the end of the night when my husband proposed to me. The moment he got down on one knee, Tina burst into tears and ran to the restroom. Their dad had to check on her and eventually drove her home. I knew exactly why she was so upset, though my husband always chalked it up to jealousy over her lack of healthy relationships. After that tantrum, she skipped our wedding, baby shower, our children's birthday parties, and other family events that we attended. I was fine with extending invitations because I knew she wasn't going to show up. She had some sort of mental breakdown and was in and out treatment for years. Now I have to say, I wish nothing but the best for her, and I don't know what kind of issues she's going through, but I don't want her disrupting our peace. I'm currently pregnant and our baby shower is at the end of this month. I'm having it a few months early because I'm at risk for going into labor early, like I did with my other 2 children. My MIL called to RSVP and stated Tina would be riding with them and if it was okay if she brought her new boyfriend. I was surprised because we hadn't seen her in years, but I was apprehensive to agree. Eventually, I did agree and hoped that she resolved whatever caused her so much distress when she was around my family. Well, it took all of 24 hours for her to start her nonsense. She texted my husband paragraphs at 3 a.m. telling him how she felt about our family. First, she started talking about how much she missed being close to my husband and accused me of ruining their bond, even though I've barely spoken 50 words to her in the past 9 years. She then questioned whether he was truly happy with his life, reminding him that he used to say he never wanted kids or marriage. Then, she asked if he had ever thought about her during all this time and if they could meet up alone before the baby shower to talk face to face. That was my breaking point. I asked my husband if he realized she was in love with him. He just shrugged and admitted he wouldn't be surprised if that were true. Apparently, when she was 11, she once asked if they could cuddle and kiss, and he firmly told her no. He acknowledged that she had always been overly dramatic and odd, but since they grew up in a large family, he never paid much attention to her behavior. I told him I wanted to uninvite both her and her so-called new boyfriend because I was certain she'd cause drama at the baby shower. He said he wanted to check in with his parents first to see what kind of mental state she was in before making a final decision. But deep down, I just know she's gearing up to create a scene and ruin our special day. So, AITA for wanting to uninvite her? Edit, for those asking whether anything inappropriate ever happened between them, absolutely not. I am 100% sure of this. My husband has 3 adopted siblings, 2 sisters and 1 brother, and all of them were adopted as newborns. He considers them no different from biological siblings. He's the second youngest, and they're all close in age, having grown up together as siblings. He admitted that he mostly ignores her behavior because she's always been dramatic. However, he has always been concerned for her well-being, as she has struggled with depression for as long as he can remember. That's why he tries to handle her gently. He's not against uninviting her, but he wants to get his parents' perspective on whether she can handle herself at the event. Second edit, I keep seeing comments referencing High School Musical. I'm a little too old to have watched that, so I didn't realize there was a similar storyline. I did tweak some minor details about how my husband and I met to keep this post from being immediately recognizable, but unfortunately, this is very much my real life right now. My husband is currently on his way home, 3 hours early from work, because his phone has been blowing up. He sounded upset on the phone but wouldn't tell me what's going on. I don't want to call his mom or other sister to ask for details, but I'll try to update when we, hopefully, figure out a final solution. Right now, I'm just exhausted and over it. Update. This will likely be my final update, as my husband and I have decided to completely remove ourselves from my SIL's drama so we can focus on a healthy pregnancy and family life. I have an appointment with a perinatologist, a high-risk pregnancy specialist, tomorrow morning, which was scheduled weeks ago, to check on the baby. Thank you to those who expressed concern for me and our child. I'm not even sure where to start, so I apologize if this update feels scattered. Also, for the person who combed through my comment history, I intentionally altered some details, such as numbers, genders, and events, to maintain anonymity. I hold a professional license, and if someone recognized me and misinterpreted this post as unethical due to my profession, I could face a review. To avoid that, I had to be cautious with certain wording. However, I've done my best to keep the core details accurate. Now, onto what happened. My husband rushed home because Tina had completely blown up his phone with texts and calls. He always checks in with me during his lunch break, something he's done even before I was pregnant, so when I didn't hear from him, I knew something was wrong. Since he ignored her messages, she escalated, bombarding him with degrading and completely unwarranted texts about me and our children, basically, just Tina being Tina. Without consulting me first, he sent her a long message, which he showed me when he got home. In it, he firmly told her off, making it clear that he would rather cut ties with her completely than allow her to disrespect our family. He told her she was no longer welcome at any of our family gatherings and that if she truly believed their sibling relationship was closer than it actually was, she needed to check herself back into the hospital. He ended the message by stating that he would inform the family about why she was uninvited and strongly urged her to see a therapist if she wasn't already. I wasn't surprised by his response, considering how far she had pushed him. But the final straw for him was the most vile thing she said. She brought up my past miscarriages, which would have been our first child together, and claimed they happened because we weren't meant to be. She even went as far as to say that my body wasn't capable of carrying any of my children to term. I previously delivered at 32 and 33 weeks. I had a feeling she might stoop this low, but seeing how deeply it hurt my husband made it clear why he didn't hold back in his reply. After sending the message, he immediately blocked her and told me he's changing our phone numbers. He called his parents and the oldest/bio sister, whom he is close with, and explained to them why she's never allowed to visit our home. He shared all of their text exchanges, and they were mortified. He asked them not to share our address and when we changed to new numbers. They assured us that none of them shared this information with her because she actually asked for his work schedule and mentioned driving up a day early to surprise him. My FIL had the most to say, and I get it. It's his baby girl, but he hadn't shared much info beforehand with anyone besides his wife. He said he always knew she had a little crush on him, but after her outburst at our housewarming years ago, they had a conversation about her behavior and she told him that she had been keeping a diary about him since she was a teenager. She explained it was to process her emotions and to challenge negative thoughts. All I heard was that she wrote about him for years. So there's several journals in their home, probably enforcing her beliefs. Apparently, she only stayed away from my husband because my FIL kept her in check and was able to get her hospitalized several times for being a threat to herself. I don't know if all her issues stem from her unrequited love for him, typing that just made me nauseous, but I hope she gets the help she desperately needs. He asked that they speak with her about his last text, but that we don't want to know the outcome. They told us they would deal with her and apologized for thinking she had resolved her issues. My in-laws are saints, and I thank them for believing us and keeping her away for all these years. Luckily, she's currently living with them due to her issues, so they're going to speak to her tomorrow morning. After we got off the phone with my in-laws, my husband's biological sister, BioSIL, called me. She apologized, admitting that she was the one who introduced Tina to her new boyfriend and even encouraged her to bring him to the baby shower to show him off. However, she revealed that they had only been dating for about 2 weeks. She also shared that she had forwarded Tina's texts to my husband's new boyfriend, who happens to be one of her closest guy friends, because she wanted to protect him. So, I'm pretty sure that relationship is over now. I'm honestly a little nervous about how Tina will handle back-to-back rejections. BioSIL and Tina aren't very close, and she was audibly disgusted when she realized that Tina had been harboring feelings for their brother all these years. She even has a theory about how it all started. According to her, Tina used to follow their older biological brother, Sean, around constantly when she was little. Sean eventually went off to college abroad, and when he permanently moved to Europe, Tina was about 10 years old. BioSIL believes that when Sean left, Tina's attachment shifted to my husband. Since Sean hasn't been back to the States since high school graduation and barely keeps in touch with anyone, there's no way to ask him about it. I have to admit, I'd be curious to hear his perspective, but at this point, I'm just relieved that we're done dealing with this situation. Someone mentioned that Tina could potentially be dangerous to me or our children, and that thought really scared me. My husband agrees, so he's upgrading our alarm system and adding more security cameras. I don't work during the summers, and since I'll likely be on bed rest before returning to work, he wants to ensure that the kids and I are safe while he's away. Fortunately, we live about 5 hours from her, so she would have to go out of her way to find us. That's pretty much everything. This will likely be my only update. Also, for those who think my husband must have been involved with Tina at some point to trigger her behavior, if that were true, she would have thrown it in my face repeatedly. Plus, a guilty man would have tried to silence her long ago to keep me from finding out. You don't have to trust him, but I do. Thanks again for all the support and advice. I'm feeling much more at ease now and can't wait to celebrate with our closest friends and family at our baby shower. Update. I've been debating whether or not to post an update. Many of you shared supportive feedback and personal experiences with obsessive individuals, which helped me navigate the situation. That encouragement gave me the confidence to write this update. After changing our phone numbers, Tina still managed to get in touch by calling our house phone from her work number. Once we realized it was her, we disconnected the line. I wasn't sure how to organize my thoughts, so I'll break things down by each person involved. As before, I've altered some details due to my career and privacy concerns. Tina. Things have been quiet for the past few weeks because Tina is currently receiving treatment. At first, I thought the situation would spiral out of control again because she somehow got my husband's new number and sent multiple texts, which I've attached. He ignored them and blocked her immediately. Her reaction to being ignored led to further personal setbacks, losing her job, relationship, and more. However, she's now receiving help, and I truly hope she finds a way to heal and build a better life. Sean. Many people speculated that either my husband or Sean may have done something to trigger Tina's obsession. For a long time, I mistakenly believed Sean was my husband's biological brother. He strongly resembles their father in old family photos, and my husband never referred to any of his siblings as the adopted one. I always appreciated that inclusivity, but it did cause some confusion on my end since only 2 siblings noticeably stood out from the rest. Sean's background is important because it explains why he distanced himself from the family. During his senior year of high school, he located his birth family in his native country. His biological parents had already passed away, but he discovered older siblings. While studying abroad, he started visiting them, embraced their customs and religion, and ultimately decided to cut ties with my husband's family after college. My in-laws received a few postcards from him initially, but no one has heard from him in years. I can't say for certain whether something ever happened between Sean and Tina, but his departure now makes more sense. All I can do is hope there was nothing deeper going on. My husband. Just to be absolutely clear, I have no doubt that my husband never played a role in Tina's obsession. I understand why some people might have concerns, but I trust him completely. Me. I feel like a huge weight has been lifted, even if it's just temporary. My baby shower was amazing, and knowing that Tina was far away receiving treatment allowed me to truly enjoy the day with friends and family. Now, I'm looking forward to meeting our baby and hoping for lasting peace in our lives. Regarding Tina's last text. Someone asked about the text she sent before my husband blocked her. I originally thought I had included them in my post, but I guess not. Essentially, she was begging him to speak with her, reminiscing about the old days. She implied that I and our children had replaced their old family and that she would understand if he didn't respond. To me, it was an attempt to guilt-trip him into engaging with her again. It didn't work. He blocked her immediately, showed me the messages, and forwarded them to his parents. From what I've heard, she's no longer in treatment, but my in-laws assured us that we won't be hearing from her again. That's good enough for me.